Hello everybody, my name is Maria Shiweda. I am Maria the Prophet. Today, like I promised you, I will bring you content on how Shepherd Bushiri tried to uproot the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua of the Synagogue Church of All Nations in Lagos, Nigeria. I will go through the steps that he took to carry out his plan and at what point did it fail and where do I come in this mix. The first thing you need to understand is that Shepherd Bushiri could not go to the Synagogue Church of All Nations himself to carry out his plan. So he needed people that were very close to Prophet TB Joshua, to the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua. So, and these people are usually the people who really liked Prophet TB Joshua, and they have to be like prophets. And those who are like working in the Synagogue Church of All Nations, or the people like the pastors that are associated with Prophet TB Joshua. So that is the plan he carried out. So today I will walk you through how he did it through a church in the Washington state. So he wanted to uproot the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua, not only the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua himself, but also the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua and the whole anointing in the church in Washington state in the United States of America. It happened that way back in 2016, I went for prayers with the Good Morning Water at the church in Washington state. So I was prayed for there. So now take this note that church has the Good Morning Water of Prophet TB Joshua. So that fact alone was enough. Number two, the pastor that prayed for me with the Good Morning Water, every pastor actually that prayed for me in that church, they were hitting Bushiri so bad. And the second thing is John Chi, sometime that year, had a conference in Houston, Texas. He was supposed to be, he went to Washington State, but I myself did not go to Washington State. I went to Houston, Texas instead. So there, he laid his hand on me. And on top of that, I already had his, I think it's called the living water. By then, I don't know what it's really called, but I think it was called the living water. So I need correction there. What Bushiri needed to accomplish his plan of uprooting the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua were the people who were close to the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua. So now John Chi laid a hand on me, and the next thing I knew, he was Bushiri's friend. And not just that, later that year, I saw John Chi at the altar of Shepherd Bushiri. And Shepherd Bushiri needed to have it that way, because the only way at a time that he could contain the anointing of John Chi was to get him under him. And that was the way of getting him under him, of getting John Chi under Shepherd Bushiri. So that went, John Chi was at the altar of Shepherd Bushiri, and my attacks just skyrocketed on me. And the next thing, the pastor that prayed for me with Good Morning Water, the next thing I saw, he was in Bushiri's church, and Bushiri was actually saying that that was his son. Like I was saying, the pastor who prayed for me with the Good Morning Water at the church in Washington State, I later saw him in Bushiri's church, and Bushiri was calling him his son from USA. So this is the person who prayed for me. I think he prayed for me a couple of times. I'm not so sure because I've gone there a few times, and I don't know how many times he's prayed for me, but I do remember the first and probably the second. That it's about to make sense to everybody. So now the next thing that is left is for Bushiri to get to the church itself. So he has the pastor right here. The pastor who prayed for me is a pastor in that same church. And he has his friend John Chi, who already has been to the church. So Bushiri got what he wanted right there, and he has it right there. So now the next thing is, everybody remembers at the burial of Prophet TB Joshua, they played the mass prayer. That mass prayer was something that Bushiri could not take at all, and a lot of activities happened there. But I'll make a video on that mass prayer alone. So we move on because there were a lot of activities there, but worth noting here is with that mass prayer, Prophet TB Joshua laid a hand on me, and then I laid my hand on him, then I laid my hand on Bushiri, and then one other person. So that's enough for now. I'll make a video on that mass prayer on its own. So now Bushiri here got what he wanted. And this is 2017. And how this came about really was in Washington State, a friend attended Bushiri's conference in November 2016 and came to baptize me. That's now in 2016. And this was before I saw the vision of a big circle where I was at the very center of the circle, and then there were two prophets at the edge. Those two prophets, I never mentioned their names in my last video, but one was John Chi and the other one was Bushiri. Their faces were just blank, and on the right side, it was just Prophet TB Joshua, just a light shining down on me. But putting that aside, so my friend baptized me. We felt now that he was fired up, just laid a hand on by a prophet, so baptized me. But then when he baptized me, we used the good morning word of Prophet TB Joshua. So that's one way I was critically saved from Bushiri's destruction. Like Bushiri's plan. So, but he needed somebody who is close to those two churches, the church in Washington State and the Synagogue Church of All Nations. So moving on from that, I'll take you to Bushiri's church himself. Sometime in 2018, after I had just cut off Bushiri in 2017, December 2017, after he tried to take my anointing to give to his daughter. So now, in 2018, I came to learn that Bushiri was a friend to Prophet Jeremiah and of Mercyland, and Prophet Jeremiah's pastors have been praying for me. Matter of fact, I'll make tribute videos for him for that church alone. They gave me prophecies, and some of the prophecies just came to pass right after. But a time came, I saw Prophet Jeremiah in Bushiri's church and Hubert Angel. So the three of them on the crusade or conference, something. But worth noting here is Prophet Jeremiah did not attend that conference, the beginning of that conference. He was stuck somewhere apparently, but In his absence, you could hear Ubed Angel speaking to the congregation, and it wasn't so nice, but he was saying that channel that you people watch in your homes. So he was referring to Emmanuel TV channel. But that was the only part I was allowed to watch. It was stuck on my screen. At the time, I had no control of my phone yet. I really just regained control of my phone recently. Still on that meeting, an announcement actually was said. Um, they, like Hubert Angel and Bushiri, were going to be the ones to choose the presidents of the nations. And that announcement was made in that conference. Fast forward from that, now we come back to Nigeria, to the church of Prophet Jeremiah. Here, now remember, they are friends. Bushiri is now in the church of Prophet Jeremiah. Now, they are friends, but at the time of that conference, Jeremiah, when he hosted Bushiri, there was something that he didn't know about Bushiri's plan. He didn't know about the underlying plan for Bushiri to use his altar to get to Prophet TB Joshua. All he knew was they wanted it would probably help their viewers, increase their viewers or subscribers. But there was an underlying plan for Bushiri to get to Prophet TB Joshua, because Prophet Jeremiah went to Prophet TB Joshua before he started. And then he really, really loved Prophet TB Joshua. So it just made sense to Bushiri, because the one thing is that Prophet Jeremiah had an anointing that Bushiri could not fight. The pastors in that church, they prayed for me. I know what I'm talking about here. They prayed and they prophesied. Just a pastor. It's not Prophet Jeremiah who prophesied to me. No, just a pastor, like on the prayer line. I don't know what they are called, pastors or evangelists or what you call them, or prayer warriors. Just those prophesied to me, and it came to pass. And you will know. Stay if you keep watching my videos. But yeah, but worth noting, in that conference that they had, there was something called the Three Generals oil. This oil was meant to have the anointing for Jeremiah, Hubert Angel, and Bushiri, the three of them. A time came, I was fighting Bushiri so much, but by this time I now knew that Bushiri's case was directly assigned to me, and I could hear the like we were at war. Let me just put it that way. So there came a time that we were just fighting, and I got so angry. I got so angry with Bushiri. I ended up neutralizing the anointing of Bushiri from that three general oil, and the anointing of Hubert Angel from that three generals oil. And so the only anointing that remained there is the anointing for Prophet Jeremiah. That's the only anointing that remained in that oil, and that is still remaining in that oil. So now I think it's taking form somewhat, but that was the plan for Bushiri right there. So anybody who prayed for me was hitting Bushiri really bad, and he needed to act, and act intelligently, and act very quick. And he did. So moving away from that, 2017, Bushiri did not go back to Washington State for another conference. Instead, another prophet or pastor went there towards the end of the year, that 2017. I tried to watch the service, but during that service, I realized it was not different than others that I was running away from, but it was still 2017. I was still in my own world, kind of, but at that time, God was already talking to me and I was hearing, I was aware. As prophets spoke, God spoke the meanings to me and all that. So with this one, he gave a prophecy in the church, and that prophecy was looking for my friend. My friend was not in town, so somebody had to reach out to him for the prophecy, because of the prophecy. But the whole thing was not really a prophecy. The main reason why that prophet came there was for him, because he was the one, my friend was the one who was praying for me, and he was really hitting them, because he would use the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua. Remember, he has the morning water, and then he would also use my own anointing because things were just rough. It was a lot, so they were hitting Bushiri really, really bad. So he had to act quickly, knowing that he cannot go back to the church. Somebody had to. And this pastor is a friend to Bushiri. And then the next thing, we were now talking, my friend was telling me how he was spotted through the prophecy. And then he was shocked to tell for me when I told him that I didn't watch, because, when I told him the reasons why, he was kind of shocked, because at this point he was now talking of like a mentor, like that prophet was supposed to be a mentor. Now, if he was to be a mentor, that means he had access to him. Remember, my friend is the one who is praying for me and to me. And this only came in the confirmation when my friend, the attacks didn't stop. At one point after that, I even bought the Lion of Judah sometime in 2017, when I lost my backpack sometime in 2017, July 4th. I just got booted out of a house when I came here to New York. And then I lost my backpack with the good morning water and the living water for John Chi. Then later I found myself buying the Lion of Judah for Bushiri, and somehow that bottle disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. Anything that had to do with Bushiri just was never meant for me. I tried to go to the conference in Washington in 2016. I was stuck. I couldn't book that ticket to just get there. And then the conference he had in Washington, D.C. in 2017, I guess they called it a VIP conference or something. I was supposed to go there with the lady I was staying with in New York. But she putted me out before that. But there were reasons why she had to put me out. I was watching Prophet TB Joshua and they were watching Bushiri. And then we just came from the conference with John Chi, and apparently the lady asked John Chi a question in the pastor's conference. What can I do to get my anointing to the level of your anointing? And apparently John Chi answered, you are already like me. And that was a dangerous answer. That gave the lady the guts to even try his anointing. And I have written to John Chi's church, and I have also I have communicated it. And then on the other hand, the lady started talking. She asked me one question. She was asking if I ever had a dream whereby my skin just went pitch black, like dark, as if somebody had taken my whole skin, as if it's like a skin without any blood, like that. So at the time I didn't know, but I've been fighting that lady. That was a bad deal right there. But I guess it's a bad deal and a blessing at the same time. I don't know. how to explain it to any of you. It has been that many years, but still, as of 2021, I've been fighting that lady. So then that lady went to Bushiri. I don't know whether she actually went or not, but I just know when I lost my backpack with a good morning order, it was that lady that I saw in her friends. So then moving from there, so it's like anybody who gets close to me, if you're a pastor or whatever, Bushiri has to kind of get you. So, but I'm not so sure whether this lady went or not, but she was set to go and I was supposed to go with her. Because she said, when a prophet of God is coming in town, you ought to go. So then from there, I'm taking you to the day when my friend then told me he decided to go to Scotland for us. As soon as he made that call to me, got off the call. I don't know if he even got off the call. I got a call, a text, and a text from Bushiri's church. Then I communicated it to him, and I also have communicated a few things that I have seen that were happening, that were set up for him. Not really for him, but against him. So I had to tell him that. But I told him, you are going to Prophet TB Joshua's show, so no worries. You just tell him everything and let him give you the specific answers to your questions, to your issues. But you see, just a call. He is just somebody who telling me he's going to Scone, and all of a sudden I'm getting a call from Bushiri's church. That's how that worked. And I'll jump from there. This is 2018. Let me just fast forward to 2020. Because although from that time on, it was just war. And I found myself fighting the cult of the elite. This will be another video. But it was just war, Bushiri and all others. And next to that, fast forward to 2020, it was just after the election. I just saw the election results of the United States, where Joe Biden won, and I thought it was over. Before I know, I'm seeing Bushiri's wife. She wanted some of my fabrics. So it's like, I was so angry. So I just had to leave. I had an assignment that I was given an assignment across the country. So I just started fighting right there and right then. And I fought until I saw only the people who saw Jesus Christ before. Then I stopped. Then I left. Then after that, let me just forward to 2021. In April of 2021, I found out exactly why Bushiri was fighting. Like the one other main reason. All the others were main reasons, but there was a major reason. It wasn't in his power. He was just a soldier. He had a boss somewhere else. So that I just found out in 2020, in April 2021, and I have related that information to him. I've explained it to him, and I thought we were on the same page. Not Bushiri though. For a moment, yeah. Then after that, there was this event. I woke up to Bushiri and his wife. Usually when I fight Bushiri, he just came along. if it's his wife, she also just came along. But this time it's Bushiri and his wife. At the prayer mountain of Prophet TB Joshua, I see Bushiri and his wife at the prayer mountain. I didn't know there were two buildings at the prayer mountain of Prophet TB Joshua. See where they hold the partners meetings. There are two buildings, they're small buildings. I just saw them in the vision first, then I went to confirm. I watched one of the partners prayer meeting, then I saw them. I was so shocked. So, but those two buildings, like one, the first one, you get to the first one and then you go through that one to get to the other one, which is more like at the back side of the other one. So this is what happened in that building. Is I don't know now whether I was already there, but my presence was just there. So we entered the first building, and then before we could go to the next building, I then learned that Bushiri wanted to uproot the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua using the dead child. And then this building, that first building, they were treating it like a hotel. They came at one point, said something, said they can afford it, like that. So then proceeded to the next building, which is you have to go through the first one to get to the next one. And I don't really remember or know what was there, that why they had to go there, but I just came to learn as we were coming back from the back building. Then I learned that Bushiri wanted me to serve in his church. But then I was already at war with Bushiri. I had been at war with Bushiri, so that didn't work right there. And so it failed right there. So this was the initial failure, like, of the whole plan of Bushiri, that overhauled the whole plan of Bushiri for uprooting the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua. The sealing of that failure for Bushiri's attempt to uproot the anointing of Prophet TB Joshua came on the day they buried Prophet TB Joshua. Remember the mass prayer that was played at the burial of Prophet TB Joshua. That's the mass prayer I'm talking about. That's the mass prayer that was played one Sunday in 2017. That Sunday service was on February 2017. I know this because of the events that took place, and I have just given you one that after that mass prayer, that's when I have received a touch from Prophet TB Joshua, and then I gave him a touch. I laid my hand on him. He laid his hand on me first, and then I laid my hand on him, and then I laid my hand on Bushiri, and then one other person. And so now when that mass prayer played, a time came. This is probably what you were looking for here. A time came when me and Prophet TB Joshua were still like on one side, and we shut the door on Bushiri. Like, we shut the door, locked on Bushiri. So that was the final sealing for Bushiri. And I can tell you, like, at that one I had to communicate it to the Synagogue Church of All Nations, because for me, I had all the roadmap of all the stuff. So when a development comes on one issue, it's just a continuation from where it ended last. So I have the roadmap of all everything. And matter of fact, the major war with Bushiri and myself was on information. He complained, this is way back in 2018, May 2018 to be exact. He complained that I had too much information, and that I did. And that I did, because when I received my covenant in 2016, I saw everything. People I saw, let me just put it that way. I saw things I don't I still don't think I am in position like to just let them out of my mouth. They are just so big. But yeah, that's when I saw all this coronavirus going on. This is not something new to me. But yeah, and just something to add to that, when I woke up, Bushiri and the wife, my question was, how did they get to the prayer mountain of Prophet TB Joshua? That was my question. Because God didn't give me the answer as to how they got there, like He didn't show me. So I asked him, how did they get there? Then in a few days, Prophet TB Joshua departed, and then as I was just questioning, because it took, my mind could not rest, like as to how did he get there, because I had every little information, like I have the whole roadmap of information. So my question was, how did they get there? Of course, I knew the people he was going through, he tried to go through, but that point of how did they get there, I could not understand. So I asked God, and before I know, it was the departure of Prophet TB Joshua, and then I see the video by John Chi's church saying like he was there. As just right before I saw that, like I landed my eyes on that video, God said, that's it. And I'm like, that's it to what? To where? Then I then saw the video. I was like, oh my gosh. So that's the only part I can tell you about, because there are a lot of things that took place, a whole lot. But yeah, that's how Bushiri's plan was overhauled, actually failed completely. And I also have to remind you the plan that Hubert Angel wanted me to cook for him some greens so that he could reach the church in Washington State. My assignment that I had in December 2020, I actually passed by the church. Me passing by the church overhauled his plan, and that's how we could talk about the failure of uh, of his plan. And a whole lot of things happened, but I think this is enough for you for right now. Otherwise, you'll find out as you keep watching and go along with the videos. Thank you for watching. My name is Maria Shiweda. I am Maria the Prophet. Thank you again.